When you first open to your portal, you'll be greeted with the portal view. That's this view that you can see here. You can think of this as a home screen or a dashboard that organizes the most common tasks so you can get started straight away. The default screen that opens is the Open Existing Project with a recently used table. Now, usually you'd have projects in here, but since this is a first open of Tier Portal, there's nothing in here because we haven't opened anything yet. But you can use the Browse button here to go and browse for any existing projects and open them that way, as well as activating a basic integrity check to check any projects that you are bringing into the Tier Portal 20 environment. From this banner down the left-hand side of this window, you can create a new project, which is a classic new project interface of project name, path, who the author is and any comments, and then go ahead and click create. You can migrate a project, which is a different type of opening from a previous version. You can close a project if you have one open, take the welcome tour, which actually opens a web page to a Siemens portal for support. Not quite sure why the first steps is grayed out in version 20, but I believe you have to have a project open in order to do that. We might come back and just check that. And you can also look at your installed software. These are all the things that I currently have installed. You can also click on help and get some help, which again loads in the Tier Help viewer, which is an online browser. I'll just drag this in here. The first time can take quite a long time for it to compile and load. It's running locally on your machine, but effectively it's like the F1 of help files, but it's now done in your browser. And then from here, without a project open, so with no new project made or without any project open, you can still get onto online and diagnostics, where you can choose accessible devices to go ahead and start searching for devices that are on your network. The accessible devices window will open, which will allow you to start searching and connecting to devices. We will cover this in more detail when we go through our online and offline lessons. But without a project open, that's pretty much all you can do from this window. So we're going to go ahead and set a project up just so I can show you what the portal view looks like once you have a project open. We will go through opening, creating projects and things like that in other lessons. Once you have a project open, the screen will update to show the first steps window. And from here, you can see the sort of options that you have available in the portal view. So we are no longer in our sort of start environment where we need to open a project or anything like that, but we are still in the start tab. But we're now on the first steps section. And from here, we can configure a device, write a PLC program, configure technology objects, parameterize drives, configure a HMI screen, or open the project view. And the project view is predominantly where we'll spend most of our time, and we're coming on to that next. But from here, we can do these things without entering the project view. For example, configure a device. This shows any of our PLC devices that we have set up in our project. If we come back to start, this will always open up on the open existing project, but we do have a project already open, so we can go back to first steps. If we go to write a PLC program, this will take us into our block view, where we can have a look at the blocks that are already in our program. If it's a brand new program, this might be empty for everything except for your main OB block. And we'll come on to what these mean later in the course. But from here, we can add blocks. We can have a look at cross-references, show program structure. And some of these items here, when you click them, will automatically switch you into the project view, which we're looking at in our next lesson. But just to be aware that Tier Portal will switch you between portal view to project view, but I don't believe there are any instances where we switch from project view back to portal view. So let's go back to our first steps. You can configure technology objects from here as well. And this takes you into a view where motion and technology is automatically selected for you. This particular setup that I have here doesn't have any motion or technology in, but you can add new objects from here as well. And as we dive further into the course, we'll find out what technology objects are. So again, going back to first steps, typically this isn't how you would use Portal View. You would understand what you need to do before you sort of come here and start clicking around everything. We can parameterize drives, which takes us automatically to the drive parameterization screen. And again, we have no drive devices in here, so all we can do is add a new device. And just to prove that there's nothing else here that you can't access from this side anyway, if you go to configure HMI screen, this takes us to our visualization tab. And again, we don't have any active HMIs, but we can create a new one. And what we'll do is from time to time throughout the course, we will come back to the project view to have a look at how this stuff looks in project view, because predominantly you don't tend to spend your time here, especially if you're developing. It might be that you use the project view, sorry, the portal view, this view here, for more configuration or things that have a wizard, such as the motion and technology objects and things like that, where you don't want to dive through the program to have a look, but typically you would use the project view. However, creating projects is fairly straightforward here. Opening existing projects from your recently used list is typically more straightforward here, and the installed software is easier to view here than it is to get to in the project view. One thing that's worth noting is that the portal view is the default. You can change this in the settings, and we have a lesson on settings where I'll show you where that's done. But it can be frustrating to open to your portal and come to the portal view when you know that you actually need to write software. In whatever language, no writing of any software can actually be done in the portal view, which makes me think that Siemens should probably have just defaulted to the project view, where we can actually work with the things that we need to work with at a programming level. So in a nutshell, that's it for the portal view. I encourage you to come and have a look and click around and see if you can get any usage out of it. Personally, I turn it off and I never use it. But for some people, they might prefer these sort of quick fire tab options where you can just jump in and have a look.